Okay, so it's nice day, light winds, 10 statute miles, clear skies,
The
3008.
Your audiobook guys calls it Metar.
Good evening, Gemini 6136 on heading 305.
Where's Gateway? Where's this?
3100 feet.
Phoenix.
Gemini 6136, Roger.
So-
Runway 12 center,
yes.
clear to land.
Runway 12 center, clear to land, Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136,
Oh, Willie.
remain
This
at
was a
about 2,600
deportation flight,
until
I
you
guarantee it.
model.
To Willie? They're sending them to Phoenix?
Can you say again for Gemini
South
6136?
Phoenix
border.
was one of
Gemini
Phoenix Gateway was one of our
6136,
bases
remain at or
when we
above
did
2,600
deportation
until
flights
you join
on my
final.
last job.
Okay, remain at or above 2,000.
right, we can't
We've
talk.
been doing a
People
lot
get
of
mad.
Final, Gemini 6136.
Listen. Oh, you can talk now because it's 10 times speed.
Gemini
As soon as I talk.
6136, base descent approved at your discretion.
Roger, Gemini 6136.
I don't understand the
He
words.
said confidently, Roger.
Tower Gemini 6136, go around.
They're going around before they even get to the
Gemini
airport.
6136, Roger. Would you like to remain in the VFR traffic pattern with me or go back to Phoenix
Oh,
Fresh for radar
boy, I
vectors?
couldn't do that.
Radar vector Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, fly runway heading, maintain 4,000, contact Phoenix departure on 124.9er.
Yeah, stay in the pattern.
They're an A320.
Yeah, he decided
Gemini
to go back.
6136, again, fly runway heading, maintain 4,000, contact Phoenix departure 124.9er.
They're still doing their
Yeah,
go around
we're heading
toga, flaps 20, positive rate, gear up.
And 124.9er. Gemini
In the middle of their
6136.
go around, didn't he?
Gemini 6136, Phoenix departure, maintain 4,000.
And then 4,000 heading 123 for Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, here reason for go around.
Unstable, sir. Gemini 6136.
Gemini
They were
6136,
on
roger,
base.
stay intention.
Copy. We 1 radar vector runway 12 center. Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, roger. Turn left heading 340, vectors runway 12 center, climb maintain 5,000.
Climb and 5,000. Left turn heading, can you say again the heading?
Gemini 6136, heading 350, 350 on the
Heading
heading.
350 for Gemini 6136.
Ludicrous speed. Go.
Gemini 6136, turn left heading 220, vectors base.
Left heading 220, Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, turn left heading 120, expedite your descent, maintain 4,000.
Okay, expedite descent and
Oh, there they are.
left turn heading 190, confirm.
Gemini 6136, turn left heading 120, intercept the runway 12, final approach course.
Left turn heading 120 and expedite descent 4,000, Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, affirmative, maintain 4,000, there's VFR traffic off the right, 500 feet below. At 737, off the right, 1,000 feet above. You have Gateway Airport in sight now, 12 o'clock.
Turn.
Confirm. We have the airporting
Is
time.
this nighttime?
Gemini 6136, clear visual approach runway 12 center, contact Gateway Tower 120.6.
Thought it said it was day.
120.6,
Was it?
Gemini 6136, good day. Tower
0330.
Gemini 6136,
What was it?
final runway
Let's say.
No.
12 center.
Gemini 6136, runway 12 center, clear to land.
There was VFR traffic and all kinds of stuff on there.
Yeah.
We
that's true.
unable to land. Can you? We request there some truck mine. We need more truck mine for the Gemini 6136.
What's a track
Gemini
mile?
6136, I can't understand what you
Longer
need, but runway
final.
12 center, clear for the option.
He wants more
I never
distance.
want to be
We
clear
need
for
radar
that in the
vector
airlines.
wait for runway 12 center, Gemini 6136.
What?
Gemini
Cleared him
6136,
for what? The
understand you're
option?
going around and you'd like to go back to Phoenix approach for Gemini 6136, I can't understand what you need, but runway 12 center, clear for the option.
We need radar vector
Touch and go.
for runway 12
Not sure
center,
you,
Gemini
you
6136.
can full stop, you can touch and go, you can low approach, just do something.
Phoenix
To your
approach for radar
airport.
vectors.
Yes, ma'am.
Gemini 6136, fly runway heading, maintain 4,000.
We're heading maintain 4,000, Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, contact Phoenix approach on 124.9er.
So,
Phoenix approach guy just threw his headset.
Gemini 6136.
yeah. So pause this real quick. Let's try and recap. So what is he asking for? He wants more distance.
Track miles.
Yeah, he said like
He's-
track miles, but he wants a longer final. is what-
Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking it's speed.
Yeah.
Probably
Well-
slam dunking him. It's probably high and getting fast. So
Well, they said 4,000. What's the altitude out there?
it's mountains and stuff.
Yeah, no.
So, but here's the secret
wanna say
sauce
it's like
about the
2,000.
320 is It is a very slick aircraft until
Yeah.
you're at flaps 2.
Oh, yeah.
Like the go down, slow down does not work unless you're throwing the gear. So
Sure.
so if they're used to longer finals, or if they're used to a pacing that's different, and they're getting quote, I mean, it doesn't even have to be a slam dunk, but if it's just shorter than they're used to,
Right.
yeah,
That's what I'm thinking. And Gateway is fairly close to Phoenix, to Sky Harbor.
Mhm.
So they are going to bring you in tight. So
Yep.
Mesa Gateway elevation is 1,300 feet. Call it 1,400 feet. So they might be getting a little slammed in there.
Yeah, possibly.
I'm sorry. Please continue.
And Casmo, if you could use stop tape
Ticket
in
approach,
the
Gemini
future, we'd
6136,
appreciate
the words that I know.
heading 123, maintain 4000.
Gemini 6136, Phoenix departure, Roger, climb, maintain 5,000.
Climb maintain 5000, Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, turn left heading 360. This is again for the RNAV, requesting the visual approach from a 12 center, 360 on the heading.
RNAV and then not.
Gemini 6136, turn left heading 320.
Left heading 320, Gemini 6136.
They can request the RNAV, right? They can say, no, we don't want the
Sure.
visual. We want the
100%.
RNAV.
Gemini 6136, continue to left turn heading 180.
Supervisor.
Left heading 180, Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, we're going to get you nice and low for a left downwind for 12 center so we don't have this go around
That's
again.
Yeah.
Copy, sir.
So that's what it is.
Yeah, they're getting slam dunked.
Gemini
They're getting
6136,
too
turn left
tight.
heading 120.
Which is resulting in a slam
Heading
dunk.
120,
Is
Gemini
not a problem.
6136.
Gemini 6136, descend to maintain 4,000.
4000, Gemini 6136.
Support his work on Patreon.
Gemini
again for
6136, Phoenix approach.
Uh-oh. Doesn't look like it's over.
So how many go rounds is this? Two?
Gemini 6136,
This is
Phoenix
their third
approach.
approach.
Go ahead, sir, Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, what are you doing, sir?
Uh-oh, the plot thickens.
Heading 3.
Is that the airport right there?
Heading 360 now.
Yeah, you're gonna want to be.
Gemini 6136.
Can you move
your
our
left line
bubbles?
Heading was 120 at 4,000.
I have no-
Turn right heading 120 now, please.
Right,
No.
heading 120.
You can swap your bobbles.
No.
There we go.
Gemini 6136. Turn left turn heading 300.
Frustration setting in now.
300.
Yeah.
Gemini.
Well, that's a different voice than
Gemini
before. So I bet this is
6136. Descend to
supervisor.
maintain
Or,
3,000.
or shift change, one or the other.
Right, yeah. Yeah, dude's like, take over, I gotta smoke.
Yeah,
He threw his
yeah.
headset.
Gemini
Right in the
6136. When you make that turn, the airport's going to be at your 10 o'clock and 4 miles.
We have the computer problem, and we just need to hold at the present position. Please, we have a computer problem.
Gemini 6136, you said you have a computer problem and what?
Yeah, we have the computer problem, so we need to either extend downwind or we hold at the present position. Gemini.
How are you going to hold
6136.
present position if the FMC is not
Gemini
working?
6136, you can't enter a left downwind from there?
Yeah. There it is.
See, I-
Heading
The pilot
300,
shit.
downwind,
Yeah, but
Gemini 6136.
they've proven they can't do that yet,
Can you
right? So
accept an approach?
Stand by.
The weather has never been better.
Gemini
Yeah.
6136, are you able to accept an approach?
You can see the airport from space, sir.
Here we are accept the approach Gemini 6136.
Okay, Gemini 6136.
Yeah,
let
they're
me know when
fighting
you have
snakes
the
in the
field
cockpit
in
there
sight.
for
10
sure,
o'clock
I
and
think.
3
These
miles.
snakes?
Looking for the airport now, Gemini 6136.
and I bet I know what went wrong
Okay,
with the
Gemini
computer.
6136 is going to be off your left-hand side, 10,000-foot runways.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus.
Looks like an airport.
Airport
Runway.
now,
It's,
Gemini
it's gray.
Gemini 6136, cleared visual approach, runway 12 center.
Maybe the approach runway 12 center, Gemini 6136.
Maybe stop giving them the visual. Just to
Gemini
talk.
6136, contact Gateway Tower 120.6.
1206, Gemini 6136. Good day, sir. Thank you for your help.
We'll talk to you in a minute.
Yeah.
Good evening.
See you on the way back.
6136 on heading
We'll see you in lap 5.
3100.
Talk to you in a minute.
Gemini 6136, Gateway Tower, extend down and I'll call your base.
This is DEI, as in Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. They're just doing their NASCAR laps.
10 days, 36.
Oh,
Gemini
man.
6136, left base approved, runway 12 center, clear to land.
Left for runway 12 center, clear to land, Gemini 6136.
2740, turn left southeastbound, I will call your next turn to the downwind.
Left turn southeast on your car, next turn to the downwind,
Oh
2740.
my God.
That
That's a
dude's like,
different
no
voice.
problem, man. Like, I'll.
2740, when able, rejoin the midfield right downwind.
When it would rejoin a runway midfield right downwind.
All this
2740.
PA 28.
341 begin base, runway 12 right short and clear to land.
In base, 12 right short and clear to land, 341.
Where?
One eternity later.
And don't we all do that, right? When you hear that one plane that's being a problem, everyone else, like, you step up your game and not try to miss anything with the radio.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
all right, roger that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gemini 6136 begin base, remain 2600.
Yeah, so they're way off the screen now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see them on my screen.
They're up at
Legion
at
641
this
Gateway
point.
Tower, maintain 3100.
They went
make
to
left
San
traffic, I'll call
Diego
your
and
base.
turned around.
3,100 left traffic,
Plenty of room.
641.
740, once you join the midfield, right downwind, extend, I will call your base.
Join the midfield right downwind.
You said this was Conair? Maybe the prisoners have taken over.
Gemini 6136, begin an immediate left turn inbound to final traffic.
Oh,
Ahead
boy.
and to your left 2 miles north on altitude 2,900, type unknown.
Turning to the final right now, Gemini 6136.
Thank you.
We're
Gemini
moving time for the majors,
6136,
boys.
12 center, clear to land.
Flip lane away, 12 center, Gemini 6136.
I
Thank you.
don't know about you, but I get paid by the minute here.
Legion 641, join about a 4-mile final, spur your base to final. You're following an Airbus on a 4-mile final now, runway 12 center, clear to land number 2.
Clear line number 2, Eastern side lead.
Shortly it'll be number 1. Don't worry.
Why don't you rejoin on his wing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fix everybody's problem.
Gemini
Too low,
6136,
Cougar.
expedite exit traffic 2-mile final Airbus, turn right at Papa.
Oh,
Expedite bucket,
you're gonna
right
blow a
turn
tire
Alpha,
if you're doing that.
Gemini 6136.
Gemini 6136, right turn Papa, sir.
Right turn Papa, Gemini 6136.
who's AAY?
So, did he make it?
Allegiant.
Ah,
Legion 641, go around, fly straight out,
Oh,
press and
no.
runway heading, maintain 4000.
no Airbus can land on this field.
Go around, straight out, Legion.
Ah,
wait,
it's
did he-
Allegiant, dude? They're only getting paid $20 an hour. You
641,
can't
do
send them
run
around. They
VFR
can't afford
traffic
it.
pattern or with Phoenix approach radar vectors.
I will stay in the VFR pattern.
Wait, so he landed now, but now he's caused Allegiant to go around?
Yeah, he's on the runway
Fly
still.
straight out for now,
He won't
maintain
get off the runway.
3100.
Yeah.
They're kissing the ground because they finally leave it and they don't want to leave it.
Gemini 6136, cross runway 30 to your left, approach at Papa, contact ground.
This is bad.
Crossway,
Dude, they're just building
30
time.
left,
This is what.
Papa, and contact ground, Gemini 6136.
This is a money making scheme.
This is
Good evening,
Ponzi.
Gemini 6136. Crossway 30 left on taxiway Papa.
Gemini 6136, gateway
So-
ground, taxi via Alpha to the ramp.
Alpha to the ramp,
Ew.
Gemini 6136.
Gemini.
Okay, so
Gemini
that was the
6136,
captain that's been
oh,
flying
full
this.
pilot deviation. Advise you contact Phoenix approach. And
What
have a number,
deviation?
advise ready to copy.
Ruh-roh.
Yes, sir.
Gemini 6136 will be Phoenix approach. Phone number is 6.
Oh, I guess when they were doing the Hayaka vectors on their own.
306.
Self-navigating.
Copy your number, Gemini 6136.
So this was the captain flying, though.
How do you know?
At
Because
some
the
point,
voice
because the
didn't change.
voices.
The voice didn't change on the ground.
Which approach?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah. So if the voice didn't change,
The
I
voice
didn't
change.
hear from the first to second though.
Maybe
It
they
sounded
was
like the
like
same
4
dude the
hours
whole
ago.
time,
Okay.
unless they're close relatives. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So that was
what,
the captain.
what I'll say is my guess is there's definitely a language barrier of sorts going on there. There's definite confusion there. What I said before about the Airbus being really slick until you get to flaps 2. So if they're coming in tighter than they're used to, then that's an issue, right? You have to plan for it. And then additionally, what I think the computer problem is, and Gonky back me up on this, but if you go around and don't
Toga.
sequence properly,
Resequence.
Yeah,
delete
Toga
that.
tap.
then
points.
everything dumps. Everything dumps. So the computer problem could have been that literally their moving map was a PPOS, what we call like where you're at.
Mhm.
That's not to say that that's not fixable. It's just to say if you're not expecting that, like that can be challenging. And if there's this confirmation bias where you expect the systems to work a certain way, and if all of a sudden stuff's not,
Well, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Brian. 100%.
Brian says
Everything's-
everything's computer.
Well, and this
So-
goes back to like do pilot shit, right? So look out the window and do a visual approach.
But we don't
And
train
I
that
s-
way.
Right, exactly, and that's the problem, right? Because too many guys, like even they're shooting the visual, they want to back it up. Oh, you gotta back it up with ILS and the RNAV and all this
Well,
stuff.
that's
It's
a
like,
good
just
plan,
Look
though.
out the
That-
window and just.
That's a good plan.
Well, it is a
to
good
back
plan,
up.
but goddamn, can you not do it without it? Like
It sounds
on
like
your
they were
second
doing it without it.
round.
I mean,
I know, I got it, but that's my point. Like that's trash. Like
Yeah.
you should be able
It's-
to. You should be able to look out.
That
the
is
window
the
to do that
training
stuff.
issue. Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
So they didn't, and Wombat, you could back me up on this, but so like
Sure.
Mover said, they did their go around on base leg. So that really wouldn't be a go around. That would be a discontinued approach. And the procedure is different to sequence the flight plan properly. But even if it dumps, I mean, I know where I'm at flying the Airbus. You trained. I mean, you can activate the secondary flight plan, which puts it all back in there for you nice and neat. But, at a minimum, kind of like
where it won't actually.
Yeah. But at a minimum, like Casmo's saying, if you notice, the first time they went around, they're like, you want the visual or do you want go back to radar? And they're like, send us to radar. And that when I listened to this the first time, I could sympathize a little bit because having never flown anything other than a fighter, as far as jet powered airplanes go, when I first started flying Airbus, I wasn't taught how to do visual approaches. I mean, we did it in the sim, and the sim is it's not like doing it in the real plane, it's just like in the entire training that I did to get my ticket to say, hey, you're a A320 FO. Never once did I have to actually hand fly the airplane with the thrust levers. The first time I ever did it was with people on board, and I was like, hey man, and you're supposed to be able to fly it with the auto thrust not working. I'm like,
it's an MEL.
Yeah.
MEL.
I'm like, God help us, right? So I practice that sometimes, and it's a kick in the brain. So when I was listening to these guys, I'm like, they probably, like Wombat said, they probably messed up the box on that first discontinued approach. And then they weren't confident in just having whoever's not flying, man, set me up. It'll automatically set up a control fix 5 miles out, and all you got to do is hit it 1,500 feet, 5 miles, 3 degrees. You're golden. Nobody taught me that. I kind of figured that one out on the fly.
Sure.
Right. So, but I know as a new A320 pilot, I was always, every time they would like, hey, you want the visual or, would you like the ILS? I'd take the visual, but I'd fly the ILS, because being a new guy, like still getting, OE done and stuff, like I was like, man, I need to build this sight picture in my head. So it screamed to me a little bit of either hesitancy to deviate from automation, which that's in that airplane that they teach you don't ever deviate from automation. Autopilot should be flying this thing all the time, which is kind of, I mean, I don't know. It's I think it's scary.
So a little bit of context for what I'm about to say. Like GlobalX is the company that took over the company that I used to fly 7.3s with, right? So I know the kind of operations they're doing, and it's not like normal airliner stuff a lot of places. So they're going like smaller fields and things and just kind of doing things different. So like in the 7.3, I always, even to this day with flying the corporate jets, I put in the ILS, I put in the RNAV. I shoot a lot of visuals, and I had to shoot a lot of visuals in that last job too, which I think was somewhat uncommon. And so I feel like that I agree with you that the training necessarily isn't there for bigger jets to do the visual, but you sometimes they get forced into it. And I feel like that's probably what happened here is they got kind of forced into a situation that they just weren't comfortable with. And then, then like the panic sets in, right? On your second go around, that's like, you're like, oh my God, like what's happening?
Yep.
And then you're monkeying around with the machine. And like you said, you probably have to resequence reinstall the approach, everything. So is again, like we talked about earlier, right? It's multiple things that are now building up and cascading. But it's rough to watch.
So visual approaches, I was thinking about this, in the 7.8, right? We do now as part of our sim profile going into Nice, there's a RNAV that drops you off, and then you have to do the base to final turn, and it's all visual. But we do it with a HUD, And I remember like the first time we first looked doing it, the captain's like, okay, I'm going to spin in the heading bug, I'm going to give you vertical speed. And it's like, dude, I can put the thing on the thing. Like
the HUD.
The heading bug spinning is not right anyway. Like it's lagging.
Right.
Like I can make this happen.
Yeah.
I think it's not something that when you've been flying these aircraft that you think about a lot, because typically we don't fly approaches like that. So I can see, Casmo, to your point, these general aviation-ish quote unquote airports are a lot different than, flying the sequence into DFW or Miami or whatever.
Yeah. You've done the arrival, you're laid out on the ILS 10 miles out, you're sitting pretty. Yeah.
I would be curious as to what caused the go around on base. And, whether they just weren't lined up or they were looking at it going, we're not going to make this. We need to go around. That started the change, but okay, drop the gear.
I will tell you, and I don't know how it is, Gonky, at your airline, but 10 years flying the Airbus, people are afraid to throw the gear. And it's one of the things I taught. I go,
not us.
I go,
speed brakes,
10 years at a profitable airline, they're afraid to throw. No. But people like they're afraid to want to throw it, and I'm like, man,
Oh, dude.
240 knots. That's all I
Yeah.
need to know. If I can get
Right.
below 240, the gear's coming down. I can fix a lot of screw ups, and I would brief that and teach that. And
It's only
like we would
240
do
gear
the,
speed.
yeah.
What was the 7.3 Casmo? It's a lot higher than that.
No, I think it was 250. I think
Was it
7.3.
260?
I mean, it's actually
250.
technically 250, but we.
Oh.
put it
But
in.
yeah, you find that fudge factor.
But yeah, it's the whole point that I'm getting at is it's like have that number in the back of your head, because if you are slam dunked or if you're just behind or there's other things, all this stuff, everything we've talked about tonight, there's been external factors. There's things going on. None of these are two pilots just sitting there perfectly quiet watching the mistake happen. That's not what happens in the cockpit of any airplane. So yeah, that is something. But for some reason, people are afraid to. And I've watched. I've flown with plenty of people over the years that are like full speed brakes, and I'm like, the airspeed's not like your speed's not going down. Like, and it's like, do you want the gear? And and then we have the talk, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, that I'm like, yeah, it's the biggest speed break. So we explain it, and it's good. So I think they're probably reluctant to do that, and I think it was probably a speed energy state, if you will, on the first one. That would be my guess.